In this video, I show you the Hero Stand Display Plinth Kickstarter that's happening right now. But before we get into today's video, just want to give a quick shout out to all of my lovely Patreon supporters. You guys are so awesome. I love you all, and you make this channel what it is. And I want to share the GGGG picks from this last month. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. And for April of 2024, John K., Colin G., and Zitherin are all receiving a Sentinel City Kickstarter pledge. Vincenzo F. is receiving the Hextech Terrain. Tammy W., Gillis, Bryce F., Michael C., Bruce Games are all receiving the STLs for the Dark Ages Medieval Buildings. And Musa K. is receiving $100 to go towards the Ramshackle and Ruin campaign that's happening right now. And for this month of May of 2024, there is going to be an all-in pledge for this current Kickstarter. So go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page to find out how you can get in on the possibility of being chosen by Bob for this pledge. And we will be populating that list as the month goes along. So I've done a number of videos for Saucerman Studios as they have come out with some awesome sci-fi terrain. And their latest Kickstarter that is going to go on through most of this month is display plinths for your favorite miniatures. And here you're going to get a ton of variety of different sizes and combinations that's going to be able to accommodate any size miniature that you have, as well as over here you see my squad of Space Hulk Terminators that I've always been looking for some way to display them in my display case that provides a little bit of theme and background to it. So this is absolutely perfect for that. And I printed these out at 0.2 millimeter height, which I think provides a fantastic amount of detail. Didn't require any supports for these, so it is really fast to be able to print these up. And I use my speed painting technique where I just prime everything black and then put on some Rookwood red and then some silver on top of that. Go ahead and use this link to go to one of my other painting tutorials. It isn't exactly these pieces, but I've used that method before to really quickly paint up some grim dark features. And I do like sort of the darker colors because I want the miniatures to be the centerpiece and to really stand out. So feel free to use my painting method if you want to be able to get these very quickly into your display cabinets. One of the other awesome things about this campaign is you can mix and match. So there is just a lot of different options that you can have in regards to mixing and matching different themes and being able to move things around or stack things up. So a lot of variety is found in this set. Even on top of that, there are pieces that have name tags, or if you're making trophies out of these, you can actually put in first place or second place. Just a ton of options, especially if you use Microsoft 3D Builder to imprint and be able to print out letters on top of these to customize each one of these as an option for you. Check out my tutorial on how to use Microsoft 3D Builder, and I show you there ways that you can use the free features that they have in order to emboss some lettering on these. So let's go ahead and go over to the computer where I can walk you through the campaign so that you can see what your options are. So go ahead and use the link below to go to the Kickstarter page, and day of recording, there's about 3 weeks left to go. It is going to expire on May 25th, so go ahead and jump on it if you want to go in on this project. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pledge levels really quickly. We have the base pledge all in, which is about $41 US. That's going to include all of the pieces as well as stretch goals. All the early birds are gone, so that is the only pledge that is available. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here's a GIF that just shows how you can just change things around, and there's limitless combinations that you can have with all of the pieces. And here we're seeing just examples, and these don't look like they have been painted. One of the things that they mentioned is that you can put tea lights underneath to light it up from underneath, since a lot of the floors do have holes in them. So that is a cool feature that you can take advantage of if you want to do that. I do want to note that so far all of this is more sort of gothic science fiction themed. There aren't that many fantasy themes, although we'll see in one of the stretch goals that there is a fantasy theme version. But this is all sort of grimdark futuristic. So just keep that in mind. Although some of these could possibly be fantasy right here. And you're getting a pretty large number of different themes and variety that you can mix and match. The walls, because I liked the gangers walls and used the floors for the Space Hulk, so just whatever tickles your fancy is what you can use. Here are the sizes here, where I printed out the 60 millimeter and then the 80 millimeter, but you can go all the way up to 120 millimeter if you have really large models. And then here is all of the core content. Obviously you're getting a version of all the 4 different sizes, and these are the rounds. So later on we're going to see the squares. But look at the variety in the floors that you can have. And then here are the ones with the holes in them so that you can have lighting from underneath if you desire. But I'm really happy with all of this variety. Also, check out all of these different blanks and heights that you can add. Again, you can create really cool trophies for events if you want to do that. And here are some optional add-ons, about $70 Australian, maybe around $50 US. But you can jump in on some of their previous Kickstarters if you're really needing some sci-fi terrain. They have an excellent line. I have a whole set of Flatline City, both 1 and 2, which is plenty, but they also have since then come out with all of these buildings as well. So a ton of files for your money, so I think those are great deals. Here it's showing how they printed everything, 0.2 millimeter height, which is what I printed it out in with, they said 10 to 15 infill. I actually do 5% infill just to save up on PLA, and I find that to be fine. And then here are the square versions as well, if you want to have a sort of a single or a few miniatures onto that as a scenario. Can you print in resin? I do have resin printers, but I decided not to do it because, again, these are sort of background. I only really use my resin printer for miniatures just because of the cost and the amount of detail, but you can check out these here. Look how detailed it is. But as you can see from my samples, I think the FDM printed files look plenty good as well. Here we're seeing all the unlocked stretch goals. A lot of them already have been unlocked, just giving you even more variety than what they already have, which I think is plenty. But having more options, of course, makes it such that that's not a bad thing. Here are blanks just so that you can grab some files. And again, if you use Microsoft 3D Builder or any other STL modifier, pretty easy to be able to put your own textures on here, your own walls, because most of us have a ton of STL files from other designers, and we're able to stick those in, especially if you want some fantasy ones. There's plenty of options there for fantasy versions of these if you wanted to create your own. But there are so many different sizes. Any size that you want, you can create, which I think is fantastic. So both the square versions and the circle versions. I tend to like the circle ones. And then here are the nameplate versions of them. So many more that can be unlocked. Now this is pretty cool, having an oval version as well. That's pretty cool. See how I use the gang hideout top version, and then for the floor I use the Space Hulk version. I think this is super cool, where you can there's actually recesses for these bases for your miniatures so that you can slot them in. And if you look closely, there is a hole for magnets so that they are held in place a little bit tighter, which is really cool too. Now this is where we get into some fantasy versions. So check this out, and this is going to be if they managed to raise 37,000. I think that's in Australian, not in US dollars. Or it might be possible that they are planning to come out with a fantasy version maybe later on. Who knows? So there you have it. Hopefully this video is helpful for you. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. And again, use my link to go to my Patreon page to see what this month's GGGGs are. Otherwise, happy printing, happy gaming. We'll see you next time.